commencing Operation Domination as we dive into today's comics and witness the early days of civil war between the superior Decepticons and the inferior Autobots. Ponder what could have been if events were different. What if Orion Pax fought Sentinel's rule in the Senate? What if Megatron played the long game and blackmailed the one oppressing Cybertron? Unfortunately, we do not live in that what-if scenario. We must think of the now and how we will be the ones to shape the world. Now then, you didn't tune in for me, else I would have my own podcast. Maybe I should talk to Swerve about that. While I ponder this, enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to the podcast where we are currently recapping the events of Transformers IDW 2019 continuity. I'm Onyx Prime with my two co-hosts here.
Hi, I'm Killobyte.
And I'm Clickbait.
Moving on with our comic discussion for today's episode takes us to IDW Transformers issues 25 to 30. And as always, spoiler warning. So if you haven't already, we highly recommend you go back, read them, and then come and listen to the podcast. Also, we have a goal to reach 500 subscribers. We'll be holding a brand new kind of giveaway we've never done before. So click that subscribe button, tell your friends, it's a good time. Now, with that in mind, Clickbait, do you mind giving us the fun facts and trivia for the comics we're discussing for today's episode?
Not at all. Let's get started with our fast facts for the day. Number of comics we're going to be discussing today is going to be 6. The release was issue 25 was released on December 9th of 2020, with issue 30 coming out May 19th of 2021. Our writer is going to be Brian Reckley, and our artists are going to be Anna Malkova and Fico Ossio, with colors by Joana Lafuente and David Garcia Cruz. Now on to the trivia. In issue 26, Paramagna's jailer Roadmaster began as a one-off character created for issue 43 of More Than Meets the Eye, though she later made a few background appearances during the Unicron crossover event. Termagax's fortress, possessing chicken-esque legs for locomotion, is likely inspired by the similar house of Baba Yaga, a witch from Slavic folklore.
You know, when I was reading that, I was like, I bet it's Baba Yaga.
Yeah, totally Baba Yaga. In issue 27, after taking the radiation blast head-on, Sunstorm is left glowing with energy and is hot to the touch, suggesting that he's developing the corrosive, radioactive powers that some other iterations of his character have displayed. This trait originated in Dreamwave Productions' Generation 1 series, and Sunstorm's mumbling that he saw something amid the light evokes his demented messiah complex from the Dreamwave era. In issue 29, when Chila hits Cybertron, they crash land in the city of Callus. Perhaps not coincidentally, as Kila's master, Onyx Prime, once ruled Callus in ancient times before the first Cybertronian civil war in IDW's first Transformers continuity.
True. It's true. It was a beautiful place.
It is true. You know, I've been taking...
were a different Onyx.
I've been taking some lessons from Blur on public speaking. He tells me I talk too slow, but then everybody else tells me I tend to talk too fast. So, I don't know. Is Blur a good option for these public speaking lessons? Because I'm really not sure at this point.
Oh, he's the
Moving on with our summaries.
Wow. Not even going to offer me any advice.
No. Blur is great, especially if you don't want anyone to understand you, which is fine, actually. So, Killobyte, can you give us the summaries of today's comics?
Will do. Megatron's Decepticons have seized Iacon, overthrown the Senate, and captured Sentinel Prime. But when a Resistance back to rescue mission goes awry, Orion Pax must undergo the ultimate transformation. And as always, this information has been taken from the wiki.
Bum, bum, bum.
Probably not the smartest way to start a revolution by most of the populace that you're trying to govern.
Nice.
There's probably better ways to go about that. Megatron needs to take some government lessons.
Yeah, no, I agree. But before we dive in, let's give a special shout out to our Patreon.
Whoop.
Thank you so much. Witness their lists as they fly across the screen. Your name could be here too.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for the support.
They're wonderful people, aren't they?
They
They
are.
are.
You know, there's this one that's really cool.
But we
I
don't
think
pick
there's-
favorites here.
No, we don't
Yeah,
pick
we don't pick
favorites.
favorites.
That's like picking your favorite
Otherwise,
Turbo
we would
Fox.
have a mirror.
We would have a mirror. Oh my god.
We would
Definitely.
have a mirror.
Let's move on, please.
Are you two ready?
I'm always ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's start off with the first issue, number 25, with Wheeljack nearly escaping the rise from the winged moon and makes it back to a different Cybertron than he is used to. Things are looking bleak. Orion Pax, Sentinel Prime, and many others are prisoners of Megatron and the Decepticons. What are our thoughts?
Definitely a hostile takeover happening there. For sure. I feel like at the same time, the people that Megatron has arrested are public enemies number one, at least to the Decepticons. But throughout the entire issue, they have about 2 guards to no guards. Megatron is claiming to have these thousands of followers of the Decepticons and hundreds of loyal members backing him up as soldiers and security, that he can't even take more than 2 soldiers to guard 1 and 2.
Well, if there's 2 people you guard, you have 1 per person, right?
I mean, that only works so long as nobody comes to rescue them and your prisoner stays restrained or under control. Otherwise, I mean, Orion is a pretty big bot. Sentinel is a very big bot. If anything were to happen to those restraints, it would be over. I think he has Ravage and somebody else watching them.
They have Laserbeak and Ravage.
Laserbeak and Ravage. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're looking at the camera, the security feed. They're not really like in front of the prison cell.
Right. They should have more guards if they want to really contain these prisoners.
I really enjoy the rescue party.
It was great. It was
Especially
fabulous.
the sass between Strongarm and Prowl throughout the entire rescue mission. And then when Brawn is figuring out where to throw Chain Claw.
Poor Chain Claw. Like, is this gonna hurt? Didn't you get checked
He's
out
like,
last?
Here. No, here.
I love seeing all these little cassette. They're not necessarily cassette, but the Chain Claw turned into kind of like a saber-toothed tiger. But we've seen so many bots that turn into creatures like this in these issues, and I just like seeing them because we're used to vehicles, so I just like seeing the little beast modes that are also like cassettes.
Yeah.
So Ravage
100%.
looks like a mouse this time. I don't know if it's just me, but in some of the panels it looks like a little mouse instead of a jaguar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. He's definitely got the ears and the tails is more mouse-like. Another thing I want to bring up, how gory this issue is.
It really
like,
is.
Roulette is turned into Swiss cheese, Chain Claw is decapitated, Sideswipe and Bumper are riddled with splinters, and Sentinel Prime, oh boy, he gets electrocuted, burned with acid, and sliced in half.
So I feel like the point needs to be made that after an entire hostile takeover of the Senate, a complete overturn of the existing government, a massive violence, chaos in the streets, Sentinel Prime is more concerned with his agenda than solving the problem or protecting his people. All he wants to do is go make a statement. That's it. He doesn't want to see what's going on. He's not taking a minute to assess what's going on. He's not, thinking through that Megatron probably has people on standby. They know that they've escaped. All he's concerned about is propagating his agenda, which is literally his fatal flaw that we see become his fatal flaw in this issue. Love his downfall. Love the Rainmakers, though. They're cool.
Yes. I love their representation so far.
So many Seekers.
I thought Sentinel would put up a bigger fight because of the 2005 continuity, but this one really didn't last.
Okay, but he couldn't do much.
No,
there was not much to do. You can't. All 3 Rainmakers are together.
It's the Rainmakers.
It's like the entire point of it.
Yeah, but that's
Get
true.
ready for the storm.
Yeah.
I really enjoy a lot of the visuals.
The
in this
visuals
one,
and the
too.
artwork.
Absolutely beautiful.
Incredible. I loved Strika. We got to see her new heavies in this. That we've been talking about Strika's heavies for a while. And I think this is one of the first.
Can you elaborate on that real quick so it doesn't sound weird?
What do you mean?
The heavies are the
Strika's elite
that's what they're called.
Thank you.
Strika's elite strike team. Strika's heavies, heavy assault, her heavy assault strike team. Okay, We've
Thank you.
we've been hearing.
I'm definitely not dying over here laughing.
We've been hearing about them for a while, and this is one of the first times we see an old school like Rise of the Threefold Spark team get back together. Because we kind of saw Ultra Magnus's team previously, but this is the first time the team is interacting and affecting Cybertron and where it's at currently. And we see more throughout episodes that we've read. It's really cool to see our first team being brought together, even though it's not all of the original members. I believe the only original member in here is
I think it was Blitzwing.
No, Blitzwing, and there was one more. Heavyweight, I believe.
Yeah. I like Heavyweight. I like the design for Heavyweight with the orange and black stripes and the little goggles.
Very
I thought
cool.
they were cool. But we also see Snapdragon, which is one of the Seacons.
Yeah.
So I like seeing that.
I really liked that little poem/prayer that Groove was saying. How did you pronounce the name? Mortalis? Mortalis? Yeah, Mortalis's prayer. Yeah. I thought that was super cool.
I don't think he's technically a prime. I think they're just demigods. But there's different continuity. So
they haven't said prime. But it kind of rolls off.
Mortalis Prime. Yeah, I don't know enough about him to say anything about that. I'll go look him up though.
But what was the quote?
It was I put together the whole thing, and I believe it's about embracing death, which is super cool, especially dealing with what these SecOps people are dealing with, because they've never seen this kind of thing before. So, Mortalis Prayer, it goes like this. We reside in you, we return to you, we fear not the reunion of all in you. We remain one of you even when we remember it not. You are the source from which every life's journey springs, and the site of its last repose. All were one in you, all shall be one in you. This is our armor, this is our comfort when all is done. This is the truth that bears our weight. We reside in you, we return to you, we fear not the reunion of all in you. And I thought that was cool. I liked that they had it very cohesive. They took the time to go through the entire thing as there's mass chaos and mass carnage and everything these bots have ever known is being called into question, and they're having to question their values and their morals and how far they're willing to go to protect an ideal that they didn't know they stood for until recently.
Exactly. There was a lot.
There's so much to unpack.
And it's one I want to ask you about, Kilo, is Orion gets the Matrix, and we get kind of a mindscape of all the histories, past, and knowledge slowly coming to him. But I have a theory. They mention that all things come back to the Allspark, and Orion asks about Exarchon, not Chevron to get confused with. I'm sure that's related in some way. But his guide says, no, they have not. So maybe they're still alive.
Art
also,
is
art
gorgeous.
absolutely gorgeous. But Kilo, Clickbait, where your theories?
Exarchon is the one that's merged with Cybertron, connected, right? So I wouldn't assume they would have been dead. I feel like
Exarchon was one of the major players in the War for the Threefold Spark, from what we've heard, but they never really say what happened, how they defeated him, what happened, in what way he was defeated. Was he put into stasis, put into slumber, exiled like Liege Maximo? We don't know. They don't talk about it. You see Solus in this mindscape, you see all the primes before Orion and Optimus. But my favorite thing in all of this is the fact that in the end, it comes down to a choice. Yes, the Matrix chose Optimus or Orion at this point, but he can choose to reject it. The Matrix calls them, as I believe it's Codexa says, to service, but you have to be able to accept that burden, because once you do, there's no going back. It's yours until you die or pass it on. And so I thought that was really cool.
Right, but his choice isn't the only one, right? Because the Matrix has to make its choice as well, but you won't know if the Matrix made the same choice as you.
Yeah. Codexa is the one that's connected to Cybertron. Never mind. I got it. Okay, I figured it out.
So I thought that was cool, that ultimately it's a choice and that you have to choose to accept that. In some continuities, it's kind of presumed that it's placed up onto them without them. They just kind of have to take it. But I really like that in this moment, Optimus or Orion chose to accept that burden in order to make Cybertron a better place.
It gives more of the illusion or thought bubble or pondering. I'm trying to find the word for it. That the moment of self-doubt, you never know.
was really good. I liked it. I know.
And that's
We're,
just the
we're
first
gonna be
issue,
here
guys.
forever.
That's just issue 25. This one's really long, so we're gonna dive right into the next one. With Termagax showing up to the Decepticon headquarters, upset with how everything has turned out, and their confrontation with Megatron. I really like
Oh
the
yeah.
body drones Termagax has been using. It reminds me. It feels like they got the idea from facing threefold
For
Spark
sure.
with Exarchon using a body double. That's what it feels like. Like
Yeah,
she learned
she was
from the
super
past and
involved
is
in that.
using that in
Termagax
the
was
present.
heavily involved in the War of the Threefold Spark. Yeah.
Yes.
I liked it. At first, before they show you that's a different body, I'm like,
I
I guess they
know.
died. I thought it would have been more cool.
Megatron
They
was
were
so
I guess
alive.
I
bad.
died.
I think it would have been cooler. Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
she's like, oh, what have you done, Megatron?
It's like, you're the
You're a
fool,
whatever.
bang,
Megatron
bang.
just shoots her, and so I
Oh
thought,
wait, I am the fool.
I thought she was just gonna stand up and be like, that didn't hurt that much or whatever, and then they're like, oh, she's dead. I'm like, well, that wasn't as cool as I thought it was gonna be, and they're like, oh, it's a different body. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
And we've been seeing them fight over letting Paramagna out for pretty much all the issues. It's been an ongoing battle between
Oh, yeah.
Sentinel, Orion, and Ironhide. And the first order of business that Optimus does when he becomes Prime is let out Paramagna, who's controversially one of the highest and most severely guarded prisoners that they have. So I thought that was a really bold
Right.
move for a brand new leader of a faction that's on the run.
I enjoy.
I love her already, though.
Jumpstream.
Oh, Jumpstream is so
yes,
cute.
Fire Magna, obviously.
She's fabulous.
She's adorable. Like I enjoy
Jumpstream
literally
ability.
jump stream. Like she can do little teleports. Not like teleport wherever she wants, just like a little far distance, almost like a
Jump.
I
He
don't know
telehops.
She
Yeah,
hops.
like hopping.
She hops from place to place. Yeah.
It's like that movie
I
Jumper.
love that
Swerve was
movie.
playing at the bar the other day.
Really, it's not a great movie, but I love it. It's
I
great.
haven't seen it.
It's not great, but I love it. Okay.
But yeah,
Movies.
Pyro Magna, great. She's a strong, tall
Love her.
lady.
She's beautiful.
I like the reasoning for
I know.
Jumpstream colors being the same as Pyra. It's because it was
Solidarity,
because they were putting up a stand to be like, no, let her out, and kind of show that they were with Pyra
Well, you don't
Magna.
really get it right
and so
away.
I
You
thought
kind of
that
get
was
a
cool.
feeling of it, but
Exactly.
she is obviously an incredibly competent leader, warrior. Like but you kind of they've been
Pyra
down
Magna? Yeah,
talking
for
her
sure.
for many issues,
What
and
everyone
now
needs.
she gets out, and the first thing she says is very insightful and very general like. And I thought it was super cool.
Well, there's a panel. She's just standing looking at the sun,
Yeah,
and then her hands
already
are in
an
the back, and I'm like,
obfuscate,
yeah,
yeah,
she's gonna destroy the world.
I do feel like I do feel like we need to address two things. Firstly, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Hologram Soundwave is gorgeous. Gorgeous, okay? Gorgeous. Secondly,
Save
I
it for
feel
the
like we gotta
Valentine's
call to
special.
attention
We all
that
know you love
Megatron has
Soundwave.
just forcefully taken over a government. Instead of trying to win people over to his side, he's straight up treating these senators like prisoners of war and is starving them of energon until they bend to his will. And he says that, don't give them energon until they bend to my will. All I could think of was, oh my gosh, that's a really big escalation. He's completely thrown his public image to the wind, obviously, by this point. It's so early on in a movement to do this!
Yeah. You went full tyrant.
He just didn't care. He's done with it. He's
He's
tired.
done waiting.
He's doing what they did to him in the mines and all. And I don't know. I'm kind of getting stuff
Very
from 2005, but I'm assuming kind of similar things might have happened here. But he's probably trying to treat them the same way they treated them when they
I
were.
agree, yeah. I think
think
you
you're
are
right.
He was a
too.
minor
You're
and all
onto
that.
something. Flipping to World War Moon. I love this one. With Team Stream dealing with the counterattack by Skylynx, Firestar, Windblade, and Springer. Any favorite scenes
Slipstream.
in this one?
Team
yes,
Stream,
Team
except-
Stream. I love Flame War.
Claymore's so annoying.
Wow.
Again, all I can
Wow.
hear is hashtag's voice, or is it hashtag's voice from Earthspark? She's trying to convince Dr.
Yeah.
What's his name? I wanted to say Robotnik, but that's the wrong Earth movie.
Meridian.
Dr. Meridian, that they have brought in the Autobots as prisoners. That's all I can hear. That's it. I love Skylynx.
I like Skylynx being able to
Mhm.
control both
Mhm.
parts of his alternate mode, if you want to call it like that. But like he disengages the bottom part and turns into his lion, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in two places
Mhm.
at once, so I might not be able to answer you back while he's in space,
I
leading
thought it was
or
funny that
fighting
I
Astro
liked it. I
Train."
liked it
So
a
that was
lot.
pretty
Slipstream
cool.
had to clarify, okay, we see Skylings, but do you see all of Skyling?
Yeah, you see
Is
all of
it all of
Skylinks.
him there?
Yeah, I don't think we've maybe in G1, but I don't think we've seen that with him being having to control both
Yeah, he
parts.
was mostly the
Especially
one
in
piece.
2005, he
Yeah.
was mostly one full piece. So I thought that was very cool, like very interesting that he could just manipulate two different parts of his bodies. Yes, his
Mhm,
functions
for
are
sure.
not 100%, but it's still
Still a
cool.
force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely a force to be reckoned with. Love the various seeker designs in this. Everybody looks so different, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
Got Link, and then we've
Which
got
is what you want. You
yes,
want everyone to look a little
and then
different.
Sunstorm. That was funky. Let's talk about creating black holes. Creating mini black holes.
Yeah.
And the
This is our science section of the show where we talk about creating black shows.
what?
Okay, let me get my coat
How
on.
they are made.
Let me get my glasses
All the way
on.
ripped. Okay.
Okay.
So, listeners, take
I have
notes.
the whiteboard.
Kilobyte, write this down. Black
I'm gonna
holes are
nod
bad,
sagely.
okay?
We'll do.
Mhm.
They're bad. Especially
They're bad.
miniature ones.
Especially miniature
There's
ones.
this thing called the event horizon. Once you go past it, you get this really fun science word where you get spaghettification. Where you
Spaghettification.
literally get... Yeah, it's a real science term.
I'm going
Look it
to
up.
right now.
You get stretched out and pulled into the
You just made it
epicenter
up.
of the black hole. And onlookers
a
will
real
see you
word.
forever, but
Oh my
yeah,
gosh!
you
I
doubt
did
my
doubt
knowledge. You doubt my knowledge.
There's a
All right,
picture.
that's it. Today's lesson. Class dismissed. Yes, you're welcome. All right,
I added a note that said
perfect. So
clickbait
you get extra
doubted our
credit. All right,
Onyx.
flipping to our next issue. Cyclonus is on the hunt for
Awesome.
Six Shot, and Starscream continues to play mind games with everyone. Theories. You need to
I do.
reset your
I
graphics
do.
card on your
Oh my
brain
gosh,
module.
it's malfunctioning severely. I feel like we brushed past that way too quickly, and now
No,
we're gonna.
it's great. Kilobyte
Now we're
figured
gonna
it
have
out.
to do.
You even got
Now we're
extra
gonna have to
credit.
do clickbait quick quotes at the end because we've already passed like
Yeah.
2 of them.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Yeah. So what's going on with Sunstorm?
Cyclonus.
That's gonna be interesting.
That's gonna be fun later.
Now we can go to issue 28.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay,
That's
Cyclonus.
great.
Poor
Shoot. 6 shot.
Cyclonus.
Yes. Poor
One bot
Cyclonus.
army.
Would you like to elaborate more?
He's going through it right now. Okay, he's trying to go find Six Shot because Six Shot has participated in the desecration of the memorial monument. Yeah. And as he walks up to confront Six Shot, he's reciting these names. And he says, "How dare you? These you who don't even know who's on this. You know, you should show some respect for the people who've passed on, basically." And Six Shot just proceeds to engage him in combat, and then tells poor Cyclonus that he let Paramagna out, who contributed to the death of Paragon. It was Paragon. Paragon.
Yes, Paragon.
Yeah. So poor Cyclonus goes through about 8 different emotions in this episode, and I believe next one also, or did it all happen in this one where Paramagna confronts Cyclonus? Okay,
that's in
so
the
we'll
last
get there.
one.
So poor Cyclonus is going through all these emotions, rapid fire, allying with the Autobots. He's spoken with Optimus before about the threat of Starscream and Megatron, and now he's on the Decepticon side because the Autobots let out Paramagna. And I just feel so bad for this guy because he's just bebopping back and forth, and he's in severe distress the entire time.
A little disappointed with that scene because I thought they might have been taking Cyclonus in a different direction, and instead of him being a Decepticon in here, he would be an Autobot. And then especially because he was going after Six Shot, and then Six Shot just says Paramagna's out, and he's like, "Oh, okay, then I'll just let me go after her and kill her, and then you and I are good."
Not
I'm
that he's
like,
not an Autobot. It's that he strictly has a vendetta for Paramagna because, as of right now, she is the one who caused Paragon's death, and Paragon was Cyclonus' partner. Like, for a bot like Cyclonus, I totally see that as being justified in his mind. Because even, like we'll see later, he doesn't attack the Autobots. He only goes after Paramagna.
No, he has an honor code, that's for sure. But I think
I do
he
too,
should
but
have
I think
still
he
taken
might
out
later.
some shots.
I think he's going to end up allying with the Autobots.
I don't think he should have been like, okay, if you give me the head for Pyromagna, we're good here,
He'll
boy.
lose it eventually.
You know, I don't like that. But he hasn't joined any factions either. He doesn't have any of the symbols on him. Like he doesn't have a Decepticon or an Autobot. And I know he's always been a Decepticon, but I thought in this series he might just always side with the Autobots. So I thought the direction they were
he
going
might
because
yet.
he's been through so much. But now he's like, oh no, the Autobots did this. Okay, now I'm angry, and
Might
I'm like,
still.
ah.
I'm not
What were your
convinced he's
theories or thoughts
completely
on
against the
Devasaurus being in a slumber, not reliving, but living his fantasies of tearing
He's so
Cliff
mad at Cliff
Jumper
Jumper.
apart?
Enjoy.
Well, yeah, I feel like he also
He
has
has
a problem.
That's what I feel. I like how he got fixed and then I think he got out of jail or something. And then he's like, okay, Swindle, here's all my money. I just need you to put me in this machine and just make me enjoy this fantasy of killing Cliff Jumper until I tell you to. And I'm like, okay, I
Trauma.
guess that's how you can deal with
Yep.
your psychopathic
Someone
tendencies, I guess.
get
You know?
Devasaurus a therapist. Maybe Wrong will be available, or Freud.
He's wrong, yeah.
In our next
Yeah, Freud is here
issue,
too.
we get an ethical decision about Titan sparks. Why they haven't
Ooh.
been forged, but instead their sparks, when they rise up from the well or forge, are placed into storage because they take up too many resources. In this issue, we also get the signature Prime Truck attack mode and what looks like Nova Storm, which I
So-
got mixed up a little bit because Nova Storm and Sunstorm look
Yes,
very
they
similar,
do.
but they're different. They're two different bots. One is
One is orange with yellow, and the
yeah,
other one's yellow
exactly.
with orange.
One is male, one's female too, so that helps a little bit. But sometimes you can't see their face, which is the only thing that kind of gives it away a little bit in this.
Yeah.
No, I think their face is the same too. They don't have
You
any
see?
what you would call female features on them. Like they don't have the lips that they usually put on them.
All
So
right.
they both look the same.
Okay, talk about the Titan
Yeah.
sparks. I'm looking this
Not
up.
okay. That is not okay. No. And we see
It's-
that horror
I-
on Optimus's face.
It's not okay, but I feel like I don't
Okay,
wanna
I understand
be
the
like, I
logic
support
behind it.
But like I understand because they're like, hey, we don't want to create more Titans because somebody could use them against all of us and all that. You know, they're
Yes.
so big, we don't have anything to protect us from it. So we're just putting them in stasis until we make sure nobody can use them for harm, which is something that Megatron's already done. So they rob them
Yeah,
of
I
their
don't
free
like
will.
that,
I don't
I
like
get the
that, but I
logic.
also understand that hey, we don't want to create more because of so it's kind of like a
Yeah,
gray
I
area.
mean, I feel like Optimus is placing a lot of this blame on Sentinel for this, but we don't know if it was Sentinel who sanctioned this or if it was a nominous sanction that Sentinel felt like he had to uphold, because how do you tell that to the public? How do you go back once that decision's been made? You can't really tell the public about it at that point without inciting
don't bring it
massive
up.
aggression. You just don't bring it up.
Which
but
is
you can't
exactly what
Yeah.
they did.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't think the blame should be placed on Sentinel for this, because I'm relatively sure it was at least as far back as Nominus, because he's the one who implemented all these crazy edicts that are causing all of this.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Also,
Okay.
no,
and it's
there's
not like they killed
well,
them; they just put them in stasis.
that-
One could argue what's
so
worse.
they killed him later.
They're sleeping.
No,
Well,
do
they
like
didn't kill them. Megatron
One of
killed
the
them.
alternate covers
but,
for
you
this
know,
particular issue is super cool because it shows Optimus with what looks to be a Titan spark in his hands. And that's super cool. I liked that visual a lot. I also liked how they really addressed Ironhide. He really addressed Javelin's PTSD from the attack.
Yes, I
I
appreciate that they
really
went through that.
appreciated that, and how Ironhide was like, hey, it's okay. We're all a little bit messed up, but we're here to embrace that in each other and fill in the gaps. I thought that was super cool and just really illustrated how good of a general, or at least a commander, he
Okay,
is.
I did the research.
So I really appreciated
Sunstorm,
that.
Nova Storm. All right, so Sunstorm, looking at the comics, which I know they're two different artists, has a tiny waist. Sunstorm does. Other than that, they look
A
identical.
tiny little waist.
As
Well, the Sunstorm is the one
Sunstorm's
on
the
the
one on the
moon,
moon.
right? And the moon has a different
Yeah,
art style.
that's
Like
why I said it has a different
the
art.
alternate mode, I think it's the
Yeah.
video game. Yeah, it has more of the video game. So the video games they all kind of
Yeah.
had smaller ways. But
So yeah, they look almost the same, which is kind of not what you want to do when you have two characters that look almost the same that are not the same character. I don't know, but anyway, that was
Also, don't forget
the thing. That
don't forget
concludes
to
that.
address Starscream playing both sides already.
Yes,
Because
playing all the
Megatron
mind
pissed
games.
him off.
He's the one that told the Autobots about the Titan
Yes,
Sparks.
he is. Even though Perceptor already knew, but Perceptor hadn't officially joined the Autobots yet and was used to, being it
well,
secret.
if nobody would have told them, the
Exactly.
Perceptor would
How
have
did
never told
we
anybody.
feel at the end with the Forge and what happened to the other Titans in orbit?
Not cool, Megatron.
It happened the same thing as the ones that were sleeping. They were frozen and put to stasis in
No,
space.
they weren't
and
choosing to put to stasis. Megatron's crew overrode their codes. They talk about it, like deploying air brakes and rerouting them.
The code overrode
Yeah, it locked them in stasis, but then
locked them in a
Megatron's crew
stasis. So
worsened it.
and they were already sleeping in space, and then they were mind controlled with the code. So they crashed that.
Because the code corrupted them, and then they were like,
on
"Hey,
Cybertron." So
I don't care if you like. They don't need to be better. They just if Optimus could get his hands on them, destroy them, which is not cool.
Yeah, it's like
because
if I
they're
can
living
have
beings.
me with you.
You can't do that. You can't just kill people because you feel like it. Because it's convenient.
I do. There is a scene when they're in the forge that I found funny. Is that they are all fighting to protect the forge, but then as soon as it's gonna blow up, like everybody just looks at each other and they're like, "Okay, everybody get out. Okay, everybody, please, everybody. Hey, one time."
I was like, "Oh my gosh."
So
I like how Acid Storm was like
even
making his way in,
I did it!
and then they're like everyone's letting out. It's like, oh no. Anyway, on that light note, shall we go to the last one?
Sure.
We
found Provoke in that one.
Provoke. I thought that was
somebody that's inside of Cyclonus's head.
Oh, Provoke,
There's multiple
one of them is Provoke.
characters he sees, and one of them is Provoke. And then there's two Decepticons that are inside of a Titan, or looking at the crash landings, and then they find Provoke, and they say that Provoke is alive, even though they're like squished between two rocks. So maybe the ones we've been seeing are not dead.
There's ahoy, honk honk. So in our last issue, it covers a hologram banter between two old men. Oh wait, no, I was reading some Earth stuff. Between Megatron and Optimus, with Pyromagna and Strika as their carriers. Thoughts on this issue?
It was super cool. I love how Optimus was like, "I'm just gonna go meet Megatron," and Pyromagna was like, "I don't know how I feel about you, but no, you are not. That's dumb."
Yeah, it's like that's a dumb
idea. I thought it was great. I loved it.
He's like, "But he was my friend."
She's like, "I don't care."
Yeah, she's like, "It's gonna be a trap," and it was, but because they weren't there, they didn't really duke it out too much. They just kind of did a little bit of fighting, and then they
what I thought was cool is that it's revealed later on in this issue that the only reason the Autobots are still alive is because of Paramagna's command decision to use that as the distraction to get everybody out, because Megatron is using that as the distraction to target everybody. And unless you think like a military commander like Megatron and Paramagna, you would never... Optimus thinks like a senator or like a librarian. He would never think that yet.
Megatron's done he was in the war,
but he's been taking the role of a commander for a while.
He was a commander. I know he worked with
so he has way more experience.
Thoughts on Wind Charger?
I thought that scene was pretty funny because they're like, they have Wind Charger. Oh no! And then he just starts.
Wind Charger. That was great.
They're like, "No, I'm out."
And then the dilemma between Cyclonus and Pyromagna.
I thought it was interesting how once Paramagna knew what it was about, she was like, "Oh, I get it." And she had just been talking about how the universe will come for her eventually, and she was like, "Ah, this must be it. I'll let him get his justice because I got mine." And Cyclonus is like, "Hold up, what's happening?"
An honorable death. Come on, fight me.
Yeah, so that was interesting. We got more Seekers.
That
yes, I enjoyed more Seekers.
That was interesting.
That's the end of my notes. Anything we need to circle back to, talk more about?
does Wind Charger do?
We see the Pyra Heavies.
We see the Pyro Heavies, yes, more of the
Yeah.
Torchbearers, right?
Are they
Although I
called
don't
the
know if they call
Torchbearers?
themselves that yet.
Some of the Torchbearers, and then we have Sunstreaker.
They're called the
and
Torchbearers
They refer to them
in
as
the 2005
companions here.
continuity. That has not been
They've referred to
name
them
dropped.
twice as Paramagnus
Yeah,
companions.
it hasn't been name dropped
But
yet.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love the squads. The squads are coming out. We've got Paramagnus squad, the companions or torchbearers or whatever, Strikers Heavies, Ultra Magnus's group. I'm so excited to see what other squads come out. It's gorgeous.
You mean Striker's partners, right? Not.
They call that like 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Also,
assuming. Yeah.
I just
Okay.
I
The team
love
members.
the dialogue between Paramagna and Optimus because Optimus is a budding. Never done this before. He's trying to take this role as a commander very seriously. I feel like you definitely get the feeling that the Matrix has bestowed at least a little bit of cognizance or wisdom onto him about this because he's able to have this leader to leader conversation with Paramagna and develop a strategy that prevents his entire people basically from being destroyed. And I really liked that and how they were able to come to terms with what's going on with Paramagna and what's going on with Optimus.
There's one last thing we got to talk about, and
Yes,
it's that
Green.
Prowl's pet survived, and it's
Yeah,
with him.
Green.
So 100%.
Are we ready for
No,
Rod Star
we gotta
rating?
do Clickbait's quick quotes.
All right,
Okay.
do the quotes.
You know
This
what?
is
We're gonna
already a
embrace it, okay?
40-minute
Okay,
episode.
first
Come on, let's
quick
go.
quote is
Oh, you're not. Yeah, you're not
Well, you
editing,
edited
so.
them.
in issue 26, this is by Optimus. Ironhide is voicing his displeasure at how Sentinel handled the situation. And Optimus says he faced a choice when the Matrix came to him, and in that moment, he chose to try. And I thought that was really cool because Optimus just experienced that. He wouldn't understand that regardless of how terrible Sentinel was and all the mistakes he made, he was Prime because he agreed to try to make Cybertron a better place. And I thought that was cool. Next one is in issue 29. It's Mind Wipe, and it's when they're talking about destroying the Titans. And he says, "We end an era with the flick of a switch." And then Sparkstalker says, "It's a lever, and you know, Mind Wipe, sometimes even I think you're a bit creepy," which I thought was hilarious because we've already established that Mind Wipe is definitely a creeper.
Yeah.
Then the last one that I have is from issue 30.
He's a rat with wings.
He is a rat with wings.
Literally.
But the last quote I have is from issue 30, and it's between Optimus and Paramagna. And it's when Optimus says, "We are not meant to be darkness." And I thought that was really cool because it kind of sums up everything that's happening, everything that has happened. Is no matter what happens, where you've been, what has gone on in a character's life, what they've chosen to do, it's still a choice. You can choose to be better, you can choose to be worse. It's always a choice. And I think it's cool that the innate nature of, they're kind of referencing that the innate nature of Cybertronians is not to be darkness, it's to be change or to be better. And I thought that was really
the
cool.
last one.
Now we can do Rad Stars. Yeah,
All
that
right,
was
lead
it.
us into Rod Stars.
Me, there was so much covered in this. Honestly, I enjoyed it. I had a great read. I was like not bored at all. Hologram Soundwave, always here for that. Paramagna, got some girl boss power coming into this. 5 out of 5.
Kilo.
It covers a lot. We get to see the kind of the beginning of it all, of the wars conflict per se, when everybody's getting their weaponry and destroying the planet. I loved seeing the backstory for Pyromagna because they've been hyping up her character, so I was happy to see that and seeing all the different titans and all that.
Yeah.
So I had a blast. It's a 5 out of 5.
Oh, constant 5s everywhere. This one was really
Hey,
long.
if it's good.
And it's really long.
Yeah.
Like the issue 25 was probably the longest issue we've read so far. Like it is longer than everything else. It felt like 3 issues in one, honestly. And I think they would have been fine if they broke it up into different sections because it did feel like it had 3 different arcs in it. I think that would have been helpful a little bit with the pacing of things rather than be like constantly reading through the whole thing. But then it might have ruined some of the pacing, double-edged sword with
I'll
the
take
pacing
it.
thing. I think a solid 4.5. Really good. Lots of good art, lots of good characters. There's a lot of characters which I appreciate. I would appreciate if they made it dragged out a little bit so we can get to see more of the scenes or witness more of some of these, the rescues or talking more between characters or a little bit. Felt
liked
a
it
little
content
too
heavy.
jam-packed. That's what took off the half star for me. But listeners, what did you think of these comics? How many rod stars would you give it? Let us know by leaving a comment below. So, we have been getting emails, mostly from voice actors, but if you would like to get in contact with us, you can send us an email at swervebarpodcast. That is SWERVESBAR podcast@gmail.com. See, I took lessons from Blair.
Good job. I'm
Are
so proud of you.
you two ready for Transformers Valentine's Day
Yes.
special?
I'm ready.
Really? Is that right? I thought the humans did that in February. Oh well. So, it's the last part of the ending of the show. Do you have any toys you want to talk about? Pick one. Pick one.
Nope, haven't bought
you have
anything.
one.
I don't think so.
Well, I
All right, cool.
I
Perfect.
got all the
We'll move
magic
on.
cards for
What?
Transformers.
I'm still looking
so
for those.
They're not toys,
Nice.
but I got all the G1 art. I'm still working on the Shattered Glass, but I got all the G1.
Yeah, I want the
ones,
Shattered
so
Glass one too. Nice. Killobyte, do you mind taking us out?
Will do.
I could go for some Belizium Saloni.
If you've enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing. If you want to help out the show even further, we have started a Patreon. All of the proceeds will go to supporting the show and keeping the lights on. Of course, we have some tiers that offer other forms of gratitude, such as 3D printed files and entry to our Discord channel. You'll even get early access to our comic review videos a week before they're publicly released, and also our D&D. We have a goal to reach 500 subscribers. We'll be holding a brand new kind of giveaway we've never done before, so make sure to click that subscribe button and tell your friends it's a good time. And as always, we hope you're all staying safe out there. Thank you so much for listening to All Our One.
All are one.
Till all are one.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Swerve Podcast, and even on Tumblr. Yes, with everything going on Twitter, we figured we should cover our bases. Speaking of which, you can also find us on Twitter at SwerveBar, if that's still a thing. If you're interested in more content, try checking out our spin-off D&D series, Transform and Roll Out. Season 3, titled Eons, is now available. Let's tune in to a preview now.
Splendid. Sorry.
It's so exciting.
Wait a minute, that sounded way too
adorable.
sinister.
Followed by the nameless one. Do you want me to go Blom Beam Wom
Yeah,
Wom?
yeah. I
Okay.
want you to do that. Yeah.
Blom
That's
Beam
correct.
Wom Wom.
Yeah, you wanna fill me in on what he meant by "we're all gonna die"? You are a terrible person. I hope you know that.
Whoa! Be nice to our DM or he'll kill you.
Wait, well, he's already done that.
Goodbye, Allegory.
Can't believe you've done this to me. How dare you?
What is happening right now, guys?
It's become a dating sim.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we were playing dating sim Domina X Scorchfire. Good lord.
Well, that was certainly something. There is also a YouTube channel with bonus content, such as video games containing funny comments and trendy shorts. A link will be provided below. And if you're so inclined, you can support us on Patreon, where you can get even more bonus content, such as reading files, access to their Discord, and listen to the content before it's released to the public. More links will be provided below. End transmission.